You're listening to Hair of the Dogcast, a proud part of the Greenlit Podcast Network. Check out Hair of the Dogcast and all of Greenlit shows at greenlitpodcast.com. Now, let's do the show.
And welcome to Hair of the Dogcast, episode 76. Hair of the Dogcast is a podcast about video games and beer and video games. You might notice right off the bat that it's not the same person talking.
What are you talking about, Tom? It's me, Josh.
Well, you see, I came over to Brad's house and he dressed me up in a Tom wig, and then he made me dance for him.
I want to be Big Spoon now.
Yeah, actually, Tom is out currently. Are we disclosing why?
Tom is a little under the weather. He was actually exposed to someone, I don't know where, but he was exposed to someone who has feline leukemia, and so he's getting tested for said leukemia.
That's pretty good. That's a good reason, if anything.
Yeah.
Safety first.
But he'll be back shortly. But so Tom isn't here tonight. This is the first time Tom has never been on the Dogcast proper, and Josh isn't here either. So it's a little bit like the kids are left in charge of the show right now.
It automatically felt weird the moment I started, because I was even explaining before the cast, like every time I put myself on the spot to do something, suddenly I become a nervous wreck. It's usually when I'm off the cuff where I'm at my best. We are not alone.
But before we get too far, we are part of the Greenlit Podcast Network.
Absolutely.
Go to greenlitpodcast.com to check out all the other amazing content from our said network. And of course, this show wouldn't be possible without Patreon producers such as Tyler Keller, Brian Ward, and Mark Ninow, or the man Mark, as I like to call him. Thanks to everyone that supports us on Patreon. But yes, as you were saying, Dylan, we have a special new friend here today.
Hello. My name is Nick Nellen. I'm here for the first time. I'm a little nervous.
He's a little nervous here.
Oh, yeah, you're going to be fine. Don't worry about it.
My name's Nick, guys. Little bit nervous to be joining on live. This is the first time I've done anything like this, but
we are very prestigious.
I love video games and I love beer, so treat me nice, be gentle.
Yes,
or not.
Nick is a coworker of mine, and we were drunk at work the other day discussing Bloodborne and Lovecraft, and I don't even know where else we were getting to. All of our coworkers started giving us some weird looks after a while. And it seemed like you're going to be the right fit. You're going to eventually just be you and Dylan talking the whole time, and I can just go get drunk in the corner.
It's probably going to be the case with a few topics.
Especially from what I've heard about some of your video game
tastes. That's an understatement. I play way too much of them, and I know way too much obscure crap. So I think you're going to do just fine, man. He's going to be a regular on Raw Dogs specifically.
Yes, yeah. More so Raw Dogs than the Dogcast. But since Josh is busy running a business and Tom is at home making his... I don't know what Tom is doing. What game do you think Tom's playing? He's probably playing Last of Us 2 on his big new
he's projector. Going to be probably Ghosts of Tsushima.
I was going to say.
Yeah, he's been playing that a lot.
Well, he finished Last of Us Part 2 last time we talked, so I assumed. And I don't assume he wants to play it again.
Last of Us 2, that's that Netflix series he made me watch with him, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good. For the budget it had, it wasn't too bad. The special effects were okay.
Voice acting was halfway decent.
That's what
the guitar playing was amazing, though.
Well, that's what most people have to say for Netflix shows. So it's always the excuse people made. They're like, "Oh, this could have been premium cable."
This is as good as reality television.
Wow, pretty good, dude.
Nick, what are some of your favorite games? What are some of your history with video games?
Oh, just like overall, I have been an arcade kid since the beginning of time, or my time. I've been playing like beat 'em ups and stuff like that since I was too short to see over the actual boards of the arcade. What are they called?
Cabinet?
The cabinets? Yeah. I was so nervous my first Dogcast. I didn't pee the entire episode, and Tom's like, "You can pee if you have to, man." Okay, so you've been playing the beat 'em ups in the arcade since you were a wee lad.
But as my taste developed, I became much more interested in narrative-driven games. So I'm all about my RPGs. I'm all about my big action adventure games. The Persona series is one that's very close and near and dear to my heart.
So which Persona games in particular? Because I heard 5 is good, but then Dylan's like, you ought to play 4. 4 is the better one.
4 Golden is I'm revisiting, and anybody that likes a JRPG with likable characters and an enthralling story should play that game.
Yeah. These Shin Megami Tensei games, they're some of the best.
There's something special, like the writing, everything that goes into it from the top down, the stylized choices, the themes, everything.
I totally agree. Shin Megami Tensei 4,
Nocturne?
4. The one for the 3DS was actually probably in my top 5 for that entire console generation. 3 is getting a remaster soon.
I can't wait, because I went back and I tried to play 3, and it's just a little bit clunky for me. After playing, it will, but after playing, 4 and 5 and having just a couple of those quality of life improvements of the smoothing out the combat system and just kind of interweaving all of the social links and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Recruiting of demons sounds like my time in Catholic school.
It's why they don't let me go back.
Don't make me tell you about my wife.
Some JRPGs, some arcade stuff.
Yeah.
You're getting a D&D campaign put together, you said.
Someday I will get to play that game again. I'm the dungeon master, and right now my life is chaos, and everyone else's is too, so...
It's a little much. It's really hard to do D&D from what I've seen over Zoom.
It's just not the same experience. No. Not being able to personally interact with someone is kind of a bummer. But
it's supposed to be a hangout. It's supposed to feel very intimate.
Yeah, and I have played games online, and if that's the only option that you can do to make it work, then absolutely make it work. But unfortunately for me, because I have played in so many games in person, I just don't want to go back to playing online.
It was kind of with us with trying to podcast remotely. It seemed pretty clunky, and we got the hang of it for a while there. We did that episode with Jake Rock on Final Fantasy, which is really good, but it was just kind of difficult not being in the same room because we weren't used to it. I know a lot of podcasts are always done that way. But.
Well, it's easy to get distracted if you're not sitting across from the person.
Yeah, I like looking in people's eyes,
I wasn't playing with my toys because I've got a lot of action figures.
Right. Hey, they're memorabilia.
Yeah, that's how I prefer to see it. I'm just lucky I have a girlfriend who doesn't care that.
Understanding.
I play with my memorabilia in the bathtub.
Your premium Naruto figurines.
Get my amiibos out of there. You took it out of the box?
It'd be such a tragedy to lose an amiibo in the tub.
It actually would. A lot of them are pretty rare now.
Where'd you put the Pikachu amiibo? I'm not telling.
He's drowning now. He'll never come back.
We need Detective Pikachu on the case.
Well, we're happy to have you here with us.
Hey, thank you.
Another like-minded individual is always a great thing to have around. You're going to do great, by the way. If you want to interject with something, just go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Starting out, as Tom normally does.
Tom.
It's me, Tom. We're going to get into the news. The first biggest thing that has been happening in the news these past 2 weeks is the massive, what they're calling the gigaleak from Nintendo.
I had to take one of those after drinking 8 beers in a row one time. Didn't get to go to the bathroom. Took a gigaleak.
If I have to take a gigaleak, it usually means I'm going to wet the bed. But I'm not a very deep sleeper, but I'll tell you what, I'm very lazy.
Sometimes you got to do the risk reward thing.
So on 4chan, no surprise there was a massive dump there were a bunch of links to a bunch of different things, and for the most part, people were like, ew, we're not touching this. It's probably a virus.
Yep.
And then one guy named Cosmo opens up all of them, and he finds that there's just a bunch of development documents, prototypes, source code information, all within this dump. And it's all stuff Nintendo probably didn't want out there at all.
Yeah, no, definitely they didn't want this stuff out there. Not that it's bad, but it's just a lot of like prototype
developmental stuff. And also, once people have their hands on that type of code, that's like emulations and stuff that can happen. So like Nintendo's gonna crack down on this.
It's because it's gonna be the source code for a lot of games too.
Yeah.
Apart from, what's mostly getting the coverage in the leaks is going to be the fact that they found Luigi's model in Mario 64.
Dude, I would so play a 2-player Super Mario 64.
Well, I think the
Give me
reality.
co-op.
Well, the reality of this stuff is it's not showing the mistakes. It's giving a lot of people like the idea of what could have been.
Yeah.
So it kind of breaks the Nintendo magic in a lot of ways.
True.
I think that's why Nintendo keeps a lot of this stuff hush hush and doesn't reveal it until they really want to sell an art book. Because when you think about it, it's like revealing that Luigi could have been playable. It probably just didn't work for them on a design element, because if he has a different style jump or something like that, the levels then have to be based on both of them playing it. And it's just, I can see why some of this stuff just, like, obviously in terms of like prototypes and design choices they didn't use, it's just like, there's a part of me that's like really interested in seeing all this stuff.
I see what you're getting at though. Maybe just throwing Luigi in would have felt a little half-baked, like it wasn't worth
If
after
he
beating the
functions
entire
the exact
game.
same way. Yeah.
Also, I just think of going back to the Galaxy game. After you beat all of it as Mario, and then you get to beat it all as Luigi to get to the extra levels. It's cool that it's in there. I'm glad he plays a little differently, but I ultimately I'm like, I don't want to do it all again.
Yeah, games that ask you to play them again are a little needy. I am guilty of new game plussing a lot of games, especially RPGs and strategy games. If the game is telling you you have to, it kind of feels heavy-handed. I enjoy games that allow you to replay them and encourage you to replay them, but if it's something where it is so cut and dry, and it is almost literally playing the exact same game over, because Nier Automata did it perfectly, where
that's not
you
playing
get
the
to
same
come
game.
through the
Definitely
same
not.
story, and you're playing different games.
At least the first two playthroughs are kind of.
Yeah. So some of the things that were discovered in there, we mentioned the Luigi model in 64. There was information about a canceled Pokemon MMO.
That would have.
I would have mixed feelings about that.
I'm sure that's why it ultimately didn't happen. But it would have been where you actually can plug your Game Boy Advance to a PC and then connect online.
I'm sure that has more to do with the fact that they knew they probably couldn't sell that hardware.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's because not enough people. Internet was not as proliferated as it is now.
Yep.
I noticed a few things that really stood out to me. One of them is that there in the Star Fox universe there is a black woman that they were going to put in there.
Yep.
Have you seen that?
I didn't see that artwork.
It's pretty wild. There's a lot of implications there, mostly for the furry fandom. But
the implication. If you're out on this, what is Star Fox's ship called?
the R-Wing.
Yeah.
If you're out on the R-Wing in deep space and you can't get back to port, the implications.
The implications. Don't get stranded on that dinosaur island.
That was the pre-concept for Crystal.
Yeah, pretty much.
I haven't thought about that game in a while.
A lot of this, like the Pokemon prototype stuff is really interesting. They actually think this might be linked to maybe a year or two ago. There was one where they had like prototype beta versions for Pokemon Gold and Silver, and those were really interesting. There were a lot of stand-ins for characters that got better sprites, yada yada. It showed Arceus from the original Arceus from Diamond and Pearl, who looks awful, but he was a stand-in. I get why, but now he's a meme. Congratulations, he's never going away.
Are you a Pokemon guy as well?
I am a big Pokemon guy, and my knowledge tends to lean more towards like I kind of dropped off after like Pearl.
Sure.
I think
that's where most people dropped. Yeah,
which had a lot to do with them making the creator god look like a horse thing. I don't know.
Arceus is kind of weird, but you forgive him for all the other cool looking designs. Yeah, and it's a lot of this stuff would have been pretty awesome. Another one is Skinny Yoshi. I don't know if you saw Skinny Yoshi.
From Mario World, his original design looks much more like the model from the Mario Brothers movie.
I actually think he looks. I actually think Skinny Yoshi looks pretty good.
He doesn't look bad.
Design-wise. I just think it's harder to
It's way more dinosaur-like.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like a raptor.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Instead of just like
I think
a chubby
that's
little
why
dragon.
they did that, Jurassic Park made
Well, then they'd have to
raptors
animate-
bad guy.
Yeah.
Well, then they'd have to animate his long legs.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot easier to just have like a little weird. Yeah, I
And
think
al-
that's mostly it.
And also, we wouldn't have gotten that adorable little like flutter kick thing then
As you watch him fall into a pit.
Kill all the
after you
Yoshis.
punch his head.
Yeah.
And they were able to bring their more realistic dinosaur into Odyssey eventually.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Yep.
Well, I mean, Mario becomes the dinosaur. Well,
That hat is
you know,
terrifying.
a lot of this is them talking about the moral dilemma of what's going on with all this because
Yeah.
it's basically free information and people can do whatever they want with that. And it's like seeing a person's sketches before they make the final thing. It's like those could look awful and maybe not make the thing look as good in hindsight. I was talking about like that Nintendo Magic.
Yeah.
It brings up ethical concerns on what people own in terms of even IP. It's
So Stanley Kubrick, for all of his movies, he famously deletes every piece of film negative that isn't in the final cut and destroys every model, like got rid of everything except what he kept at his house for private stuff. But it'd be like, all right, we found all of his deleted scenes. Is it moral to release something that this artist very clearly said he doesn't want anyone to ever see?
well, I mean, we wouldn't have any Franz Kafka novels if that didn't occur either.
Yeah, I don't know. It's that weird line, though, where I know video game preservation people are going to be like, this is great. We want to look at this, and it'll help us understand what's going on in our industry. But also, Nintendo Magic. It's Mario needs to arrive fully cooked.
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody expects it. At this point, he is the main man in gaming. I mean, you could argue for anybody else, but any other like major Master Chief or whatever.
Because, I mean, every Sonic game has been released half-baked.
Hoofda. And Sonic used to be my guy. Like, I used to love those games, and
Yeah.
Some of them don't age well. I get a lot of chuff for going back to games and being like, yeah, I see, but it's also like,
The game's only 10% done. Just release it.
yeah.
I mean, Sonic Adventure was one of my favorite games growing up. I went
course.
back and played it, and
How
I
many
was
times
like,
did you draw yourself as a hedgehog?
several. I was doing the Naruto run before the Naruto run was a thing.
We had two of our
Nice.
first episodes for Raw Dogs was Pokemon and Sonic lore.
Yeah, the Sonic
The,
lore
the
one gets
Pokemon
weird.
franchise one was good. The Sonic lore was weird.
The
The Sonic lore is weird.
I've been getting good feedback on the lore episodes, though, so we're definitely going to be doing.
I think
a bunch
that's
of that.
what our bread and butter is. I
think so, yeah.
You can't. We could do them all the time because if we just talk about all the lore of different video game,
I wanted to get in
universes.
the comics, but we kept to the games. So
I mean,
Sally Acorn. He brought up Sally Acorn in his drawings. He wanted to show me a million
Sally
times.
Acorn, and I'm like, Princess Sally Acorn, here she is.
They
Look at her
also
vest.
they also in the league there was a game called Super Donkey,
Yes,
which
I heard about.
looked
this.
like an early version of Mario World 2, and the main character kind of people are thinking might be Stanley the Bugman from the Donkey Kong series
really?
because it looks a lot like him.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he just shoots up and like can shoot around the map in a weird way. It's clearly very early prototype, but
early Sparkster /
yeah.
Rocket Knight.
it's interesting to see what I mean. A lot of that's like video footage that you can see from this too, which is super interesting.
Well, I mean, there was
Sprite art is the stuff that I really love out of it, and
that's the art assets are the best thing for me as well.
Like unused links from
Yeah.
like a game, like
Yeah.
might be another side-scrolling Legend of Zelda.
we never got the continuation of the Legend of Zelda 2. Not that it was my favorite Legend of Zelda, but
There's a really
Gamelon.
great Adventure Time for the 3DS that actually plays exactly like.
really,
Yeah, it's
I'll
called.
have to check that out.
It's called Hey Ice King, Don't Steal Our Garbage or something like that. I'm not sure what it is right off the top of my head, but it does play almost exactly like The Legend of Zelda 2.
All right.
The creator Pendleton Ward is very well known for his love of video games.
Yeah, amazing.
I mean, one of the so we were talking about the moral issue of this, and I have a really great quote from an anonymous source. This is from a Vice article, And it says, most companies are terrible at preserving their games, and piracy and other means have salvaged or saved many games, said a developer who specializes in preserving game history, who asked to remain anonymous to avoid disrupting any potential business deals with Nintendo. Based on this breach, Nintendo is much better than most at archiving, but that's why invasive data theft of this magnitude, while an anomaly, shouldn't be encouraged. And what he's basically saying is that they're going to strengthen their iron grip. If you think that they were tough on stuff like this before, it's going to be way worse.
It's going to get rougher for YouTubers and stuff like that. They're going to crack down on all sorts of copyright stuff now.
It's a shame that one time they wanted to have Smash Brothers be a part of the big fighting game summit, and Nintendo's like, no, you can't stream it.
Yeah.
So like, we're literally just celebrating your game right now. We're not trying to spoil anything.
And what is there to spoil in Smash? It's Smash.
And is it Reggie on 4chan just trying to get back at Nintendo because he misses them? Just joking. Sure. We love Reggie. We love you, Reggie.
Actually, head of Greenlit, Jeremy Parrish, has also gone on the record of saying something in this Vice article. This is, to my knowledge, the biggest leak of development info for a major publisher to date.
But Jeremy Parrish is the man. We love you, Jeremy.
You
wrote a great intro to the new Bloodstained Ritual of the Night 4 LP. He has like the huge intro for the records, which is really cool.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Not heard.
That's rad.
Any other leaks that we think we want to mention? There's one where a sprite of Luigi is allegedly flipping off the player.
I've seen it.
It could just be a thumbs up.
Yeah, I think people are reading into it.
But maybe that was the birth of Luigi's like I'm pissed off moment.
Yeah.
The side glare that he gives in Mario Kart 8. Yeah.
The lightning god Luigi.
He's tired of having a vacuum cleaner as his only weapon.
You gave him a squirt gun. I got the vacuum cleaner.
I don't know if you guys have played the Rabbids versus Mario.
Oh, yes.
We talked about it in the last episode,
oh, my God. That game is so good.
It's very good.
Sniper Luigi is terrifying.
He's so good.
Plus, he can move around the map like a beast.
He was in my party every single time.
Every time.
Love him.
He was the perfect character.
Yeah. Should we move on to what else?
Absolutely.
What else we got?
I've got one that I have to bring up really quick because I found this to be the most important thing that happened in 2 weeks for me. That's my problem. But Carrion, it's a Switch game that just came out about a week and a half ago. It had an icon on the Nintendo Switch when you download it.
And what's that? An icon?
An icon. Like the one that you select. Okay, now I'm going to be showing this to you guys because I showed it to Allie and I said, what does this make you think of?
Oh boy.
And now, so the one on the left is the original one, and then the one on the right is the one they had to change it to about a week later.
Yeah.
It's very, how do I put this? It reminds me of a Georgia O'Keeffe painting.
Oh, so it's kind of like a cut apple?
It's a little bit more
I mean, I don't know what the game's about, but maybe it's got a kind of like an alien thing going on.
It is. Well, I'll be talking about it, but also,
it does call to me.
Let's be clear. That's.
I don't know. It just looks like a vacuous hole. You can't call every vacuous hole a vagina, in my opinion.
It's the color.
It's the color, but it's also like got a clitoris.
Yep. Yeah.
It's very weird. If you have the chance, take a look at it. It is pretty gnarly.
It's odd.
It's and with no words or text.
I'm very confused how somebody like.
Can you send me a link to that picture?
It's called Google, Brad.
Is this on Rule 34?
That was the most important thing in my opinion of the news. Then we have Spider-Man as a PlayStation exclusive in the upcoming Marvel's Avengers by Square Enix. Now. This is getting a lot of flack right away.
Yeah, I understand.
Yep.
I mean,
me too.
I also understand why Sony's like, nah, Spider-Man's going to stay with us.
Especially right now with how well Marvel is promoting their character for them.
And I think the truth here, though, is that if you're going to be buying... I think what people are upset about is if they're getting this for the Xbox One... and they're just not going to get another character.
Yeah.
And even like all DLC will still probably go to... PlayStation,
both, yeah,
but I just don't think it's a fair game.
Because
if you're gonna pay $60, you'd want the same exact game. The fact that Spider-Man's not going to be in the other versions, that's obviously going to upset a lot of people. I know that Sony owns the video game rights to Spider-Man,
Yeah.
and they're very selective about who gets it.
This is in a large extent though shooting the Xbox One version in the foot.
Yes. I am shocked that they aren't trying to compensate with another superhero. Just of some.
We got Juggernaut.
Yeah, give the Xbox players
He's got
something.
he's got to be an Avenger, but then that's a character that's not going to show. I mean, they've done this before with like Soul Calibur.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest like parallels I've seen where Xbox got Yoda and
and
PlayStation got Darth Vader, and obviously
or whatever. Yeah.
obviously
one,
Yoda's better.
One time it was Link for the GameCube,
Spawn
for the Xbox, and then Hihachi from Tekken for the
As
PS2.
if anyone gave a shit about Heihachi.
I was like, what the fuck?
So
Were you a
really,
PS2 guy?
I had all of them, but I was like, why would anyone want Hihachi?
It's like Heihachi.
He doesn't even have a weapon.
I know.
And
He just
he
fights
played
with
so
his fucking fist.
clunky on for a Soul Calibur game. Like
Didn't
Tekken
feel
is
like
so
Tekken.
technical.
Yeah.
I saw that 2B from Nier is DLC for the newest Soul Calibur.
Are we on 6 now?
It's on 6,
yep.
yeah. I thought that was
Definitely
cool,
on
though.
6. Yeah, it's
It's I don't know. I understand why Sony would want Spider-Man to be exclusive, but it seems like an odd choice that is really going to limit the other versions, unless they will eventually say, we have these characters that one that they don't have.
well, I think though that it's also a little strange because Spider-Man was in the recently released Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
Yeah.
And that was a Switch game. Mm-hmm. So is this active sabotage by Sony? Is there a deal they had with Square Enix? And also, Microsoft has to be aware of this deal then. So
How are they not?
what's with the dealings actually going on behind the scene? I'm going to assume that they're going to give the Xbox players like a bonus and like, I don't know, in-game credits. There's going to be some sort of store.
They
or
have
something.
to have an exclusive character, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't think they will, but
It also goes to
throw
show
them
that,
like Moon Knight. Even if it's just Moon Knight, that would be badass.
Yeah.
But then the PlayStation people are going to be like, really though? Like, we're not going to get this
And
either.
is Spider-Man going to be DLC down the line, or is it going to be
It's not going to be released right away.
Yeah.
This is the idea. Like, if you get the season pass, I think, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure he's a part of it because they announced Hawkeye as well.
Okay.
But they're not going to be in the main game because the main game has a very set, specific story. So these DLCs are going to be tag-ons, essentially.
Yeah. But something that the Xbox does have going for it is another one of our news stories.
Halo Infinite multiplayer, free to play.
Well, I was talking about Gabe Newell, like coming out on TV and saying that he thinks that Xbox Series X is the future.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Gabe Newell came
I
out.
didn't even read that.
Yeah,
I'm just
I
like-
didn't look into it either. Did you look into that?
I didn't look into it too heavily, but I did read a little bit. He just basically did like come out and just say like this is going to be the superior console.
Well, I mean, in terms of like what, power? Because it's basically a PC tower, just
Yeah.
underpowered.
Yeah, I was going to say as a member of the PC race. like,
I'm still working a GTX 980. I need to upgrade. Bad.
Well, Gabe Newell, he was in New Zealand on vacation, decided just to stay there before the COVID-19 crisis happened. So there you go. Good move there, Gabe.
yep.
But he came out and said, that, someone asked him this Christmas, PlayStation and Xbox are both coming out with new consoles. Which is better? He says, ooh, the Xbox, without missing a beat. He responds, to be honest, very quickly. I don't know. Maybe it's just because he's a PC guy. But yeah, without he very quickly said he prefers the Xbox. And that
yeah, but
that's
at the
saying
same time,
something.
you're not going to get Steam on a PlayStation.
Yeah.
If they wanted to
They
have some
could.
firepower, they would do it.
I know, but they're just not. There's too many licensing. Like copyright laws are so weird as it is to begin with. It's the same reason Spider-Man's not going to show up on the Xbox One. I'm sorry, Series X. God, I'm not going to get used to that.
I have trouble because I was on
Why didn't they just call it the X? That's actually slick.
I was on Gift Horse the other day, and I was trying to explain that there was an original Xbox One game.
Yeah.
Because they released an Xbox original game, and to me that's Xbox One. And I was trying to explain that they released a shitty game. But I couldn't get it out because it's tricky to try and wrap your mind around it. Xbox
Right.
Series X is the next one. Yeah, just call it the X. That's a great name.
The X, it says everything about it. It's like, here's the X factor.
It's almost.
I don't know.
It's
I don't
almost
know.
a callback to the original.
I don't
design,
understand.
too.
I don't
Yeah,
understand
that
the
original design was kind of cool.
Well, I don't understand the focus testing on this, really. I
Just
don't.
call it Degeneration X.
Well, you know what?
Suck it.
My whole thing is always going to be what's one thing providing over the other. We obviously still don't know everything. We don't know how any of these things play. Once I get my hands on a controller, I'll figure it out by then.
Yeah.
But if he's saying it's powerful, I don't not believe him. He's a talented guy.
And you were mentioning that Halo Infinite, they said multiplayer will be free.
Free to play.
Which I appreciate that. There will be no local split screen, which is dumb.
That's an awful choice. But when you consider the game, it's like playing. It'll basically run like Destiny, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've said someone asked them about Battle Royale, and I'm not a fan of what 343 is doing, but I'll give him credit because the guy's like, the only BR we're interested in is the battle rifle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's a good line. I'll give you that one.
That's
Someone focus tested that before he got there, though, for sure.
Well, but we all know what free to play means, and that means a store.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's going to be mostly cosmetics where people don't have to care, kind of your Fortnite, which is the business model at this point.
If
Because
you want to do the Macarena, it's $2.99.
I just don't understand how many
It should
versions.
cost that much in real life, too.
I just don't understand how many variations on space armor is really going to be like contained in that universe.
Dude,
no
it's-
offense to Halo, it's
If I know you're not a Halo person, I don't know if you were at all.
I was back for like the first trilogy. I felt like it really fell off after that. I enjoyed like Reach and ODST.
But with Halo 5, the number of armor different like permutations, it's stupid. It's way too much, and eventually, like they want you to just get those battle crates or whatever they call them, loot boxes. It is offensive. But,
It is, yeah.
hopefully they don't stick with that.
But what else do we got? We're already at like 30 minutes. We got some more news to talk about.
Yeah,
here.
we're all right. I did read that next gen for at least 2020, Ubisoft is not going to raise their prices to $70.
I thought that was interesting.
Huzzah.
It's good. Well, I mean, it's fine either way, but it's kind of them putting they're like, but this is the business model we have.
Yeah.
These are going to be 60 for now.
Don't
Let's
worry,
wait till
we're going to be charging
2021.
$120 for the
Yeah.
Ultimate Edition.
Yeah.
We'll skin you over a bit. And now, Brad, there's one here that
That's-
I find very interesting, and obviously you do too.
Okay, yeah. This one, so my favorite video game series of all time is Suikoden. Huge fan of 1 and 2, and 3 is amazing. 4 wasn't great, 5 is fantastic, and there's Tactics and Tier Christ. There's a few other ones that don't warrant discussion, but to me, 1 and 2 will forever be the best video games I've ever played. And Yoshitaka Murayama has mostly been out of the game for a very long time. And Konami, fuck them. They
Yep.
haven't been doing anything with their amazing franchises. So when it was announced that Kickstarter would be having the Suikoden spiritual successor, helmed by Yoshitaka Murayama and a large number of people from the original Suikoden teams, I was, needless to say, extremely excited. Ayuden Chronicle was seeking to raise $500,000 over its 30 days. In just 2 hours, it raised $500,000, and it crashed Kickstarter multiple times throughout the day.
Heck
This is what happens when you give people what they want. Apparently, they spend money on
Yep. Konami's like, can we make it into a pachinko now?
it. Or can we make it for the phone?
Make a phone port. So it crashed Kickstarter. Currently, it was at like 2.7 million when I was looking earlier today because I've been following the stretch goals very closely.
Yep.
It is currently the 12th most backed video game on Kickstarter of all time, with 24 days to spare. And it's going to catch up to a lot of them, but it broke the record for the quickest to reach 2 million. I believe it was the fastest to reach that.
Oh, Brad, did you donate?
Yep. I forget which tier I went for.
Had to ask.
I was at like maybe the $120 tier.
That's not bad.
Essentially, I will pay for whatever gets me to the vinyl record tier. And so that's like a physical copy of the game, a number of other things, and then also the LP. And they're cool with their different tiers. for what they're raising, because 108 characters is the sacred number for Suikoden fans.
Yep.
And this one it's called Ayuden Chronicle 100 Hero Story or something like that. And everyone's like, why only 100? And they're like,
Probably going to be 100.
they're like, why would you want us to have more? We don't know. They're being real cheeky about it. But there's different tiers where you can unlock another character. So we've unlocked, I think, 4 or 5 right now.
They've got like 3 or 4 more. I was just looking at the screen too.
Oh man,
They'll do it. It's
I may or
fine.
may not have invested in it today.
oh nice.
You know they were gonna do that anyway,
Yeah.
even if they didn't reach their goal. All they need is a decent amount of funding to prove to investors that it's worth making.
I did see one news article. The first game announced for the Switch 2 or the Switch successor was the Ayuden Chronicle, because they said, what systems will it come out on? And they said, well, PS5, Xbox Series X, and we want it to be on the Switch 2, whatever they're going to call it. So articles were already like, the first Switch 2 game announced? Click here to find out. Scroll to the bottom and read 10 articles.
I think, but that's kind of planning ahead, because you'll find like so early on in the PlayStation 4's life cycle was a game called Child of Light. I believe that's Ubisoft, but that's like a side-scrolling.
Yep.
It's very Paper Mario, actually. I should have brought that up last time. But one of the things that's interesting about that is that even when they were developing that, they're like, well, we're going to release this on everything because we used so much to make it, and it just looks good no matter what. So we'll keep pushing this out on as much as we can. Came out on the Switch. It was also on the Wii U, from what I recall. I don't know, but it's. I mean, I don't know. That's just them future-proofing.
Yeah.
Do they think it's going to be that graphically powerful? That's my question.
It's
It looks
2.5D, so it's got one of
can't
those. No,
Well, then it can't be.
It's not going to be that graphically powerful, but it's them utilizing like that timeless transition, like Octopath Traveler has.
Exactly what I was going to bring up
just
too.
looks beautiful.
And like I was watching just some of the little animations that they had already put out there for like the attacks and stuff like that, and it looks really good. The camera's moving around for you and stuff like that, so it really brings you into the actual action, even though it is turn-based. Like,
It's got 6 characters, and they do mix it up where you can move around different parts of the battlefield. So you can have your sniper climb up to like a little higher spot and be like further away from the action. It looks great, and it's definitely got the soul of Suikoden, which I'm very excited about.
it's going to have a base building element, which I love that. I always love collecting
Yeah.
people and seeing my village grow into this massive, thriving thing. Nino Kune 2 did a great job with that.
Yes, it was
I
almost.
just saw Dylan fall in love with Nick a little more.
I love both Nino Kuni
Oh, yeah.
games. I just think they're both their own thing, though. Obviously,
They're very separate. And,
Yes,
like,
yes.
Nino Kune 1 was like almost like Pokemon.
It was.
But just as charming, just as unique with
But if Red had a gun,
yeah. Yeah.
he would help
Just
them.
a little bit more awesome.
I'm excited. I'll play it. I just have to see more about it. These Kickstarter things, they're also like, how far in development are they? You know, like the fact that they're considering the Switch successor is the fact that they know this is at least 4 years off.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
my
no, it's
guess.
coming out in 2 years.
And 2?
I think they're aiming for
let's see it.
2022, but
Let's see about that.
yeah, I don't know. They just said that they would be interested if the Switch 2 is out at that point. They said whatever Nintendo system is going to be operating, this is what they're going to make.
because it will be the most popular system, especially after.
Also, regardless, don't get the Switch port of your Kickstarter games. We've learned that debacle.
I have played Bloodstained Ritual of the Night on that, and then I played it on the Xbox, and I was like, this is actually a good game. Very good.
supposed to work.
Everything doesn't look like hot pixel trash. A few things I noted as well. Beyond Good and Evil is going to get a Netflix movie
Okay.
Yeah.
with done by Rob Letterman, who did Detective Pikachu.
David's son.
Okay.
David Letterman's son. That was a stupid joke.
Maybe. Apparently, Splinter Cell is getting an anime, and it's going to be one of those shitty, probably like half CG ones, and it's going to look like reboot,
Like
kinda.
the bad Berserks.
Yeah, the bad Berserks. Okay, already I know. Okay, we're gonna get along just fine. The movies were good.
They were
fine.
I've always found that the less you do with CG and the more you can do hand drawn with that art style, the better. If you can use it to enhance and elevate, great. But
Mira, that which I had to bring that up because I would be interested in Beyond Good Evil movie. I just don't Splinter Cell hasn't had a game since 2008, right?
Yeah.
I don't see
Pandora Tomorrow, or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was. Wait, was that the one where he's not so like geared up? Is that the one where he's like on the
Just
run?
in a shirt the entire time.
I don't know. These
very
Tom Clancy
very Max
games,
Payne 3.
Tom Clancy's dead. Can't we just let him rest?
Yeah, right.
Never.
We got a few other things here. Tom wanted me to mention
Tom wanted us to mention a lot of stuff.
Ghosts of Tsushima.
He essentially wrote the podcast out for us to read. We're like,
No, I'm not going to go too far into it because there's not much to say. I haven't played it. I don't think you've played it either.
no, but it looks good.
Okay.
Installing it on my computer right now.
It is now the PS4's fastest selling new IP.
Yeah, my PlayStation. I misspoke.
It beat out Horizon Zero Dawn, which is weird. But Tom says he's absolutely enjoying the shit out of this game, and that this has now become his perfect Animal Crossing style COVID escape game. I'm not sure the comparison is
Well,
great,
and there's that one. You have to collect enough logs to eventually build a bridge to get across the stream. So it's very much like Animal Crossing.
Is it really like that?
I don't know.
No,
I fucking.
I was like, wow, actually, this might be my game.
This guy named KK Slider shows up and just starts playing guitar.
Oh, and he's a dog.
Man, yeah, he's a dog, dude.
That's perfect, man.
His hedgehog is Sonic. I swear. I don't know, but
I mean, I don't know what to say about that. That's actually pretty astonishing, but the install base by now for PS4s must be way higher than it was even 3 years ago.
But congrats to this awesome new game, which might become a new big series for him. I mean, I haven't heard anything negative about it, and so that's
I've heard middling things, but I've never heard anything negative,
yeah.
which is fine.
Yeah. To me, though, you can't just throw a black and white filter on something and call it the Kurosawa mode. As a Kurosawa fan, they're like, we talked to the family's estates, like they care. They're just collecting paychecks. It's not Akira Kurosawa saying, this is my vision.
Kurosawa's grandchildren
Yeah.
at the latest.
I met J.R.R. Tolkien's grandson. Nice guy. I don't know why he signed my book, though.
Yeah, who gives a fuck?
Hey, yeah, he had nothing to
He
do with
signed
it.
my book. I'm like, okay.
Thanks.
Awesome. Great. And the last thing that I found to be of note is that apparently, from some sources, Final Fantasy 16 has been well underway for a while and might be surprise announced at any given time. I think they're worried in the same way that they should be.
It better not be an Elder Scrolls 6 trailer, though.
Yeah.
They're going to just show like one chocobo. It's going to say FF16, and that'll be enough to get like half the fan base to get way too excited.
yeah.
I just don't want a Kingdom Hearts-esque romp.
Yeah.
Even the
I
FF7 remake, they it's that announcement was amazing. But
if it's closer to 7 remake in terms of gameplay, I think I would be okay with the way Final Fantasy is going. But 15 was just so deeply.
It
Yeah.
definitely wasn't there. They
I enjoyed it.
like the step up into that like live action style gameplay, just like it didn't feel like everything fit into place the way that they thought it was going to. Half of the animations you're missing your high fives with your buddies,
Yeah.
and like that totally takes me out of everything.
Well, by all accounts, that game was literally built back from the ground up within 2 years, which for a game that size these days is completely unheard of.
Yeah.
So you've really got to. I think it wasn't Tabata.
I don't know.
The director that took over for Nomura.
Yeah.
Which never let Nomura.
Yep.
I played a little bit of The World Ends With You, and I'm like, this is all right, but okay. It's fine. It's a fine video game.
There was one other. Well, Final Fantasy 16. Cool. Hopefully, it comes out soon.
Yeah.
After they announce it.
I just want an art. I'm really excited for Bravely Default 2, mostly because that game looks so good. Have you guys played the demo of that?
I haven't.
No.
Oh, it's sick.
I've never played the first one.
Give it a shot.
Yeah?
It's very good.
All right.
It's very difficult.
I like that.
One last piece of news. I was never a huge fan, but G4 is returning, which Tom was excited about.
When and how? Well, I mean,
I used to watch Attack of the Show. I used to watch
What is it, extended play or
X-Play?
something? X-Play.
Yeah.
X-Plague was cool.
That one was really great because you got to see a little bit behind the scenes and stuff like that. But I don't know, like
sketches.
we live in a world where gaming is so much more of a prevalent and like readily accessible thing. So it doesn't shock me that they're going to capitalize on game entertainment.
Yeah.
Like, when they need to fill space, they can turn on any freaking esport. Like,
I love that. So they announced it with his trailer, and Tom writes down in his notes, the Indiana Jones and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull-esque teaser video. I'm like, you could have said Raiders of the Lost Ark, Tom, because that would explain where it was as well. You opted to go into Crystal Skull territory.
which is not the way that I want it to be described.
Thomas.
I'm a bit of an
Tom is
apologist
Tom
for
is the
that
kind of
movie,
guy that will decry the prequel trilogy of Star Wars, yet buy him on 4K.
honestly not so bad after this.
I have
Disney
no
trilogy.
issues.
We watched
Prequels
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull last night.
not
It
bad.
wasn't as bad as I remembered.
Nope,
It's got
not nearly.
a few really bad things that make it
The
terrible.
monkeys.
And nuking the fridge.
And nuking the fridge.
You can cut out that entire sequence and it won't affect anything. Now, if they had Indy develop cancer halfway through the movie because he was in a nuclear bomb, sure.
I mean, that's one way to pass the torch, I guess.
Shia LaBeouf would have been crying even more.
I never smoked a day in my life, but this is how I go.
I belong in a museum.
Love me some Harrison Ford.
Oh,
He's the
crazy.
Oh man, he is the best.
I
Are
love
you
that
excited
grumpy
about?
old fuck.
So what are you excited about the new Star Wars? I'm not excited.
I don't care.
What? So why did you want to get back into Star Wars? They paid me. Dude,
that
he's
shit.
so blunt.
Just, ready
Oh,
to say it as it is.
Oh, it's so good.
God, he's a national treasure, and that earring he refuses to get rid of. Fucking what the hell? It's like, oh, it makes you like 50 times less handsome. Did you do this on purpose to just try to blend in?
I didn't ask your opinion.
Exactly. Who would give a fuck? I really do love you, Harrison. If you're listening, I know you get high. You might stumble on this.
Dude, I love you, Harrison.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go ride in your airplanes with you. We'll crash into all the golf courses. I don't
Yes,
care.
dude.
Yo,
I'm so
I would
in.
let him teach me how to fly.
Yeah. You're scruffy looking. But yeah, we should probably take a break.
Absolutely.
Listen to some of the other amazing shows from the Greenlit Podcast Network. We're going to grab a few more beers, and we will be right back. We're not sure necessarily what we'll talk about, but we'll be right back.
Hey there, this is Jeremy Parrish, and if you're a fan of classic video game soundtracks, or if you just love 20-minute rock epics about war-ready armadillos that battle Catholicism, you should listen to Alexander's Ragtime Band. Join the power trio of myself, Elliot Long, and James Eldred each month as we talk about the most pretentious music of all, progressive rock, right here on the Greenlit Podcast Network.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Dunn, and I'm inviting you to listen to Our 3 Cents, a weekly podcast where myself and two of my very best gaming chums are counting down our top 100 favourite video games of all time. For all the episodes and information, check out our website, www.our3cents.co.uk.
And we're back.
And we're back again. I hope that sounds good.
Our news went a little long, but we want to talk a little bit about what games we've been playing.
Well, I think Brad's been itching to talk about something.
Well, let's not talk about that one first. I will briefly mention that after I got ahead of this game that we're about to talk about, I didn't know what to do with my time yesterday on my birthday while my girlfriend was at work. So I wound up playing Mario Maker 2, which I hadn't played in a while. Go right into super expert mode. Man, that game is great.
Yeah,
That game makes me angry.
And I mean, it's great because
that too.
it's great because
I just want to play a normal Mario level.
But it's always new when you go back. I don't know if you know how to use the search engine, which isn't great in there.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
You'll have to teach me.
And just know what you're searching for. But I go into technical, expert, or super expert, and I can beat like 2/3 of them, and that's been fun. For a gift horse, I played some Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 campaign remastered. It's really good. The guns feel fucking good in that game.
I've heard some good things, yeah.
I don't like Call of Duty. The World War II ones are fine because they kind of go for more realism in a lot of it.
Yeah.
But the guns feel amazing in Modern Warfare 2. And I played No Russian for the first time, that controversial mission.
They give you the option in this remaster, don't they?
They do, and I'm not going to skip it, but I found that you don't actually have to shoot almost anyone to beat the level.
Just walk
Yeah,
through
you
it.
And I was in
walk
the
through.
airport. You can just go to the bookstore and look at all the books that they have Russian titles for. I went to the free whatever they call it area where I could look at the scotch and chocolate. Good scotch selection. But apart from that, check out Gift Horse if you want to see those.
Branded scotch selections? Because that's a weird one to put branded
There's
deals
like
into.
Chensky.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a weird one to put that stuff in.
So there's been a game that Dylan's been wanting me to play for a long time because he wanted someone to talk to about it.
Now I do, so you can go.
So
I'm just kidding.
I beat Nier Automata. I've beaten all 3 stories.
main
I've
endings?
gotten like 6 endings, but I did get the main ending.
Yes.
Yes, and
There's going to be an episode about Nier, so
there will be an episode. I will say, fantastic. I didn't absolutely love the world when you're exploring and doing like the side quests. There might have
Right.
been a little much, but there was enough flavor with all the little NPCs that made it worth it. There was a lot of busy work, I thought, where it's like I had to run there, run all the way back, run all the way back. Even with fast travel, it was tedious.
and the fast travel barely works.
I do have to say, though, I think that was all part of the design of the game.
I do
Like,
have to agree.
Everything
Yeah.
down to how empty the world feels, or the busybody that you become because you're a robot being told to do something. Like
Yeah.
It's into headspace. You're worried about the chips in your brain.
I did not know before starting it what kind of game it would be. The opening mission, when it's very much just like
It's not one type of game.
It's like a side shooter, and then it evolves into like this weird 3D thing. And then
Isometric, yep.
Yeah.
it's going all over the board. And my first thought was praise the cameraman, because then also when you get into
Yes.
the regular fighting, like the hack and slash adventure stuff, the camera's constantly swooping between like 2D and then like above, and it's swooping around. And I think that first mission is just so amazing.
it brings you right in,
wild.
and like
There's no way you can get bored during that mission.
no, and it is a statement of what you are about to take part in, because it goes from this quiet thing that's happening as you enter in, and then 30 seconds later you are basically boss fighting.
Oh man, and the most epic
It's a
of boss
thesis
fights.
statement.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to put it. And it's a thesis statement is much better than 8 hours of Kingdom Hearts 2 learning how to swing your bat, your wiffle ball bat.
If you're listening, Josh,
You're not.
we love you.
You're not listening, Josh. But if you are, start playing Kingdom Hearts, bitch.
We love Roxas. We all do.
Dude. Josh, we already want to apologize. If you do play Kingdom Hearts 2 like we challenged you to, you're not going to love it.
Yeah, that's okay. It's part. Are you the one who challenged that?
No, my challenge for him was to explain the story of one Kingdom Hearts game.
That's a
Oh, so he's gonna. Oh, I mean,
That's almost
even worse.
that's
'cause he's
tougher
gonna
than
have to
beating the game.
He's gonna have to watch a YouTube video on that.
to coherently explain that.
That's a much better.
Yeah, you need to carve out like an hour.
Yeah.
We should really just give him like 3 questions, like who is Roxas?
Who is Ansem? And who is Ansem the Watch?
Explain every Ansem.
Explain the Ansems.
Roxas and the Ansems. There's a bad band name.
I kind of like it.
There's an edgelord
Yeah.
12-year-old band.
When you walk away, you don't hear me. Utada, I don't know why I love your music, but I do.
Oh, I fucking love that.
Yeah,
I'm
but
learning it on
Nier-
the accordion.
Nier, you do have to beat the game. They say it's beating it 3 times. Really, it's like beating 2 and then moving forward.
Yeah.
But there is a graceful way that they handle side quests where if you already beat them in the first round, they're blacked out. So you're able to move very quickly through the second one to an extent.
If you want to. Because
you
then
want
there's
to.
new ones that open. And
Not many, but there are some.
I find the second playthrough to maybe be the most emotionally affecting.
Yeah.
Well, there's one mission where
9S is just so important to me.
the robot won't isn't talking to you, and you have to hack into his brain to see what he's thinking. And he's like, "Why are we here? What is the point of fighting when we are programmed to fight? Should we live at all?" And then he just jumps off of a cliff, and I was like, "This is insane."
Yeah. I mean, it asks questions that, I mean, look at how much video games have grown, guys.
I might want to give it best NPC dialogue of like all time, because there's just one guy. He's like, "I don't like going outside. I just like staying inside. It's more fun, but I'll be good at it." And I'm like, "Good for you, man." There's one robot. I'm wearing makeup because I wanted to. I'm like, "Good for you too."
Well, one of the do you remember when we did the best soundtracks of the PlayStation 4? Oh. And then I brought in a track from
Gotta
Nier
be.
Automata,
Yeah.
Become as Gods.
Of course.
Become as gods.
And then it ties in directly to like the story. It's
Yeah.
not just like a background thing, because it's literally the chanting of these robot fanatics jumping into lava. It's so good.
One last thing about Nier before we move
Sure.
on. I watched a lore video afterwards. So I watched a little bit about Near Gestalt or whatever the one was before this. And then I found out that the Japanese version has like a
handsome
pretty boy young dude.
That's the one we're getting.
And America got the old ugly dude. I'm like, fuck yeah.
Well, the old ugly one is the one I played.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, I'd rather play as the old ugly dude anyways.
It just feels more right.
It's more more representative of our culture, maybe. Japan likes the young pretty boys, but... And then I found out the Drakengard games are all in the same universe, and I was like, this will be tougher to do a lore episode.
Nier is based off of the ending from Drakengard 5?
Nier Automata is like directly off of Drakengard 5, which is that giant dragon.
A specific...
turtle.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even want to get into it because, boy.
Just watching the lore of the Nier game before this one, though, just learning about Emil, or Emil, however you want to say his name,
Emil,
or like the twins. When I learned who Emil was in the first game, and then I'm like thinking about where he is in the second game, I'm like, that's insane how far that character's gone.
Yeah. Well,
wow, he must have just like forgotten everything.
If you want to watch a really good lore video, it's by a YouTuber named Klemps. Look up his videos on Nier. He's fantastic. He's British, and he's got a lot of sass and humor. It's my recommendation.
So, who else has been playing some games lately?
I mentioned it earlier to you guys. I've been playing through P4 Golden, Persona 4 Golden. It's
PC.
Yeah. The re-release is so great. I've beaten the game before, but getting to get back into Inaba, which is the city that you move to,
best location.
and getting to know all of they're called social links, but they're your friends. And building those bonds and just doing it day by day. You get into this rhythm with the game that you just fall in love with every little touch. The music is... I'm a big music guy as far as video games go. I think we all are on that page. Yeah. But that's just one of those connections that I've had with the Persona series forever. I mean, I played 3 back on PlayStation ages ago. Mm-hmm. I got the portable version because I wanted to play the female main character. So it's been really great getting to go back and hang out with friends that I didn't think I was ever going to see again.
I honestly think Persona 5 is the next video game that I'm going to play, and it will be the Royal version.
Thank you.
Because this guy said he will give me the extra $30 to get the proper version of Persona 5.
I will absolutely do that.
I don't have my PlayStation 4 anymore, and I regret it because the moment this came out, I'm like, well, where's my Switch copy? Because it should have already happened. I'm sorry.
If you are a Persona fan...
It's the perfect Switch game. Why is it not out on the Switch?
I will bring my PlayStation to you, and you will play it.
I mean, I would appreciate it.
Because, no, seriously.
Because I beat Persona 5.
The extra confidants in 5 elevate the game.
Oh, okay.
Like, leagues.
Excellent. I had a lot of issues with 5, controversially to myself, because I didn't have people to talk to about it. But
you're in a safe space now.
Yes, now I'm safe. But I just remember loving Persona 4 so much because it was more or less like I found the characters first of all more relatable, and they felt more like people you would actually know.
Yeah, they're very real. They're
with.
Very real. Like the stereotypical first couple of characters that you meet. There's
the best friend.
There's the spunky, sporty girl, and then there's the pretty smart girl. But instead of that just being their archetypes, the pretty smart girl is also awkward and just bursts out laughing uncontrollably all the time, and it's so endearing.
And so most of these games are about revealing something.
Yes.
And in this one. And it's usually based on the thing they equip to summon their personas. So in Persona 4, it's glasses, and it's about seeing your true self.
So my only understanding of Persona has been from playing as Joker in Smash Brothers, which there is that little bit of where you can have your persona.
He controls like horse shit.
Arsene, I really like him actually. Yeah, so basically your persona is the power that you get after you And each game is its own standalone thing. It has its own theme. I love the way that they do it. They base it on color and on a very specific thing. The first one was about dread. The
Carl Urban character.
Not the first one. I apologize. The third one is about dread. The fourth one is about truth, and the fifth one is about rebellion.
Yes,
and those themes are a through line through everything,
so
and it makes it such a tight story.
What system was Persona 1 on? Was it a PlayStation 1 game?
PlayStation 1.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you
And
played
it was
all
not
of
popular here.
Have you played all of those?
I've only played 3, 4, 5.
So the team that makes the Personas that I know started at 3.
Okay.
The first
Atlas, right?
Those are the popular ones.
Atlas has always produced it, but
Developer?
Yes, I'm forgetting the names of the directors.
It's not NIS America, is it?
I wish I could tell you off the top of my head. They're special games. Any game that can make you feel for a character like they're a real person is something special. And I shed one single manly tear in each one of those games.
The ending, and especially in 4. P Studio.
Yes.
That's what I call the bathroom.
Well, the thing I really enjoyed about 4 is that it was a story about, like, it was a murder mystery.
Yeah.
And actually, the twist is very good. It caught me off guard.
It took me until the person before him, the last victim, for me to really dial it in and be like, oh my God, it's...
Yes,
but
you can't say, obviously.
Yeah.
No, it's very surprising. I'm not even going to say what type of character it is because that would still be giving away.
Yeah,
don't give any away.
No,
so I'm not going to.
The game
I
is
wish I
quirky. The
could.
characters are great. The gameplay is solid. It's a JRPG, turn-based JRPG. So you've got your magic spells. I really like the system that they have in place as far as dungeon crawling goes, where you have a really limited special point pool. So you do have to. Every single time you choose to use an elemental attack or a magical attack or a buff or a debuff, which are very important in these games,
I'm very excited.
You have to think about whether or not it's worth doing this, or do you just auto attack, take a couple of hits, and then heal while you're out of combat?
Because sometimes that's more worth it. It depends on how much you've leveled yourself. And then you have to take added risks so that if you get done with the dungeon early, you can do more social stuff the rest of the month or the rest of the 2 months. It is a management sim at the end of the day. It's very good.
And I would reckon 2.5 to 3 months from now, there will be the Raw Dogs Persona special.
Heck yeah. I'm so in.
I might have to get a ROM of, a legitimate copy of 1 and 2.
I would like to do that too, because I haven't played through those games.
My PlayStation Classic might have a legitimate copy.
I don't think so.
Downloaded.
I would have already owned it. Oh yeah. That's what I heard too.
Have you been playing anything besides Persona 4?
I'm always playing Warhammer, Total War Warhammer. I love strategy games. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I played a little bit of that. I have it on my computer. I play a bit.
I am in the middle of a Wood Elf campaign, and I'm pretty late into it. And Wood Elves are great turtlers because they don't build up their bases very, very quickly, and they don't have a lot to build. But they have one building that they can make where every single time you make it, your weapon or your missile damage goes up by 1%.
For archery.
So the more that you get, the more damage your archers do. They're Wood Elves. They're archers.
Yeah.
So eventually, you just literally things can't even make it to you because there's just it's like out of Lord of the Rings, just like a barrage,
a wave, blot out the sun,
done. It's very satisfying after struggling through the first part of the game where you're constantly getting attacked and harassed and.
I found the game really cool, but I already. There's such a learning curve for these types of games.
Total War. Well, and see, I've been playing Total War games since.
Right. This was probably
the OG Rome. I think was the first one that I played, or was Medieval out before that?
I think. I don't know. I actually don't know.
I'm a big strategy game guy, though. I love Fire, especially give me RPG elements.
There'll be a Fire Emblem
games.
one.
We'll have to do a Fire Emblem special at some point. Too.
gonna be very fun.
That'll be a half a year out though.
Okay, that's fine.
Because I have never played one, and other than I main is Roy and
own,
Smash Brothers.
I'll bring
got
you my
'em all.
Switch and I'll get you 3 houses. It's a pretty solid entry point for the series.
It's
'cause
actually it's the best entry point
Yeah.
for most people. I've got Path of Radiance.
I have the 3DS version sitting here.
There's 2 of them. There's
the
Awakening
3DS
and
ones
then
are Play Awakening.
Fates is
Fates gets a little weeby.
it becomes a little much story wise. Yeah,
It gets very anime.
it's very
like-
anime.
Dylan, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a new game that came out because someone here's got to play a new game. I played Carrion, which I was talking about before.
Oh, yeah, the vagina.
The
icon.
vagina one. This game is a ton of fun. You're basically this biomass that escapes this lab, and what you basically do is systematically go through this lab and you latch on people with your tentacles, you eat them, you gain more biomass,
Sure.
and the biomass gives you like special powers.
So you
like,
kind of play the Thing almost.
essentially you're basically the alien from Alien a lot of the time, because most of it is for the earlier parts
Yeah.
you can basically slaughter all the scientists and you can whip them around, and it's it's 2D, and it's got like this great like beautiful pixel animation, and you whip them around and then you eat them, and then you're like, oh my god, this game's going to be easy. It's like a speedrunning game. And then later on, there are enemies who literally have shields made to kill you, which are just giant rotating blades. So if you try to attack them from the front, you'll get hit. But if you can move around towards the back, that's great. There's also like mechs later that you're facing, and you have to hit them in specific areas.
This
with
is a
specific
new game?
abilities. Yes.
And what's the price point? Is this a $60 like major release? Is this
Oh
like
my
a
god,
20, 30 buck thing?
I think I got 10% off on the Switch because I pre-ordered.
Okay.
Because I said this is probably up my alley. I saw it in a Devolver Digital showcase, and I said, okay, well, I reserved this probably 3 months ago, and it's $19, $20.
Okay, so it's a cheaper
price point.
release.
It is.
That's
and
good.
It's,
Yeah.
And it's good. I will say that the earlier parts of it are incredibly frustrating, because they kind of hold your hand in some ways, and then in other times they absolutely don't. The map can be super confusing until the map starts to diversify. That's basically what I'll say. I stuck with it because whatever, but like some people are immediately going to be like, I guess so. Also, like the aiming is a little weird too. It's off is my best way of putting it, because it's overly precise. Let's put it that way. There's no like assist. There should be.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying my time with this. It's definitely worth the $20 if you get the chance. It describes itself as a Metroidvania. I don't think that's.
I'm getting tired of that.
I don't think it's
losing
right.
its meaning.
I do want to do
because
the
if-
history of Metroidvania at some point.
We should, because this one is less about you're going back to areas to solve things that you already did, but the areas are small. It's not like you can just get like lost, and it's not like the game is allowing you the freedom to do other things. The game is kind of really is putting you on a path if you've got any sense of video games. So it's just like, well, I don't know. You're not finding a lot of secrets either.
It's a Dark Souls style Metroidvania action RPG.
I love Dark Souls.
Very
and I'm so tired of
very
it.
open ended, but very focused story as well.
I will play any game from Software.
Absolutely.
But I am getting really sick of hearing that it's a Souls-like just because the combat is better than, the average Assassin's Creed game.
It's amazing after playing Bloodborne how I went from thinking that gameplay style just felt terrible and wasn't fun to now when I play a game, if it doesn't control like that, it seems wrong to me.
Yeah.
Yes, that is. You're going through the first stages.
It seems very.
You've been ruined.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
I was playing Portal Knights the other day. I'm like, this gameplay sucks. It's so forgiving. I don't have to think about what I'm doing at all.
Nope.
And it made me angry.
Once you embrace the challenge.
Sometimes you can glide through it.
I was looking at Dark Souls 2 was on sale for like $7 or $8.
Start with one, you ding dong.
Well, no, I already own one. I was just saying that I was looking at the
Okay.
PS Plus games on sale, and I was like,
gonna yell at
I was
you.
like reaching out to the TV with my hand, like, I want you.
Two is underrated.
Two is underrated.
Two, they
from
give
what
a lot
I've heard.
of. They give a lot of shit to two. I think two is extremely good.
Two was actually my first one.
Oh, yeah.
So like I guess I just have fond memories of getting murdered over and
The
over and over.
the multiplayer in 2 is the better one.
Yeah, and
that's
that's
what I'll
how
say.
I got in.
Maybe I'll wait for
faster.
maybe I'll wait for the Demon Souls remaster to jump in.
Yeah, that's not a terrible idea.
From what I've heard, Sekiro is not the next spot to go in. I've heard it's great, but I've also
It's a
heard
fantastic video
My
game.
buddy
It's-
who runs a Dark Souls podcast called Bonfireside Chat, they've done like 100 episodes or something. He spent like 70 attempts to beat the boss of Sekiro, and he didn't beat him.
Final boss, yeah.
So that makes me scared.
It's a 3-stage boss. It's bad.
The thing about Sekiro is that in comparison to other games like it, like Bloodborne and Dark Souls, it is so much faster.
Yeah.
You really are playing a ninja. You're in, out, you get one hit in, and then you do not want to be anywhere around that guy because something bad is about to happen.
Because I played Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. And each time the thrill of beating a boss felt less and less because I don't know about you, dude, but I breezed through 3. Like
3 was not as...
It was skin off my back. Like I was suddenly just like, oh shit! Like it all came back to me.
But maybe it's because you've already used
You're
to it.
learning
is.
the mechanics.
Yeah.
But the mechanics, they're technically better
Yeah.
in 2 and 3. But the problem ends up being is that doesn't help it, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
I've also heard playing the original Dark Souls versus Dark Souls 1 Remastered is better too.
There are certain points that I could maybe
I think the
agree
remaster
to
is
that.
very good, and just move with that.
Yeah.
The improvements are better than the...
Yes, I can get behind that 100%.
The improvements work. And they work better than what experience you would get with the original because of Blight Town, mostly.
Yep.
Because it chugs at probably 10 frames a second in Blight Town.
Yeah, it's interesting going into Bloodborne podcasts now because a lot of these episodes that I've been listening to were released shortly after the game came out, and everyone's like, man, the loading times and like the frame rate just chugs during boss battles. And I'm like, I didn't get that.
No, of course you
And
wouldn't.
it's like playing Assassin's Creed, what is it, Unity or Syndicate. I played it after they fixed it. I'm like, this game looks pretty good. And everyone's like, you weren't there, man.
You didn't get those floating eyeballs.
You didn't get No
scarred.
Man's Sky.
That's like I waited to play Middle Earth Shadow of War until it was completely fixed and got rid of all of the loot boxes.
Microtransactions.
And
By then it was too fucking late.
Yeah.
it was still good for a very cheap purchase way
Right.
after the fact, but for the people that bought it first day, poor bastards.
Hi.
These guys.
I liked Shadow of Mordor enough to buy Shadow of War.
The first time that douche showed up as one of my nemesis battles. douche.
But otherwise, I got to a point in Origami King where I got bored as fuck.
Yeah, those Mario RPG games can do that eventually.
This one though, it is so formulaic that I got to a point where, so you go through this entire part, you find a new companion, you do all the weird little puzzles to get the Velumental, which is basically your summon, and that has its own little dungeon. And then you feel like you've accomplished something, right? And then what they make you do is immediately after, well, we got to use the Velumental to get to this other dungeon. And so it's a dungeon after a dungeon. And by that point, you're just like, so it's like, I know I'm going to get a boss battle at the end of this.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to get a boss battle at the end of that. And while the combat system is fun, sometimes it's just frustrating for no reason. I could solve these puzzles. I mean, it might take me 1 or 2 tries, the later ones. But I'm going to be honest with you. I immediately was just like, maybe I'll lend this out to Brad and Tom and they can see what they think about it. Like,
I would be interested in playing it, but I also I
debated trading it in.
can already foresee the fact that it's not going to be challenging enough. There will be interesting boss battles, which I'm
it is
excited
challenging.
for.
It's challenging later. That's the problem. About halfway through, it gets challenging.
They turn it on.
Yeah, they turn it on. There's a significant jump.
Well,
And is it a difficulty creep or is it just like, and now here's the actual game?
I guess for some people, it's because you can figure out certain things based on the enemies you fight. Like, I know based on what I know about Mario lore that this enemy is going to do a specific thing.
Sure.
I know I can't jump on these ones.
Yeah.
But as far as, I don't know, difficulty, for me, it really did it ramped up in one boss battle. And I was just like...
It is weird how those games do that, because I was playing Mario and Luigi Dream Team, and I was about 10 hours in, and I never once felt threatened, ever. It was always just like... It was just like doing layups the entire time. And then it got to be one boss battle against where Bowser shows up for the first time in a big way. And I died, and I thought for sure it must have been scripted because he was so tough. I'm like, this must have been one of those things you have to lose. I'm like, it isn't. And I was blown away because it was just the difficulty spike that they threw in was terrible. Yeah. And they need to ramp those things up after you get familiar with the mechanics. But nope, it was, here you are on difficulty 2, here's a 7 out of nowhere. So I was like, not paying attention. I'm like, oh shit, this is a battle now. Yeah, I don't know. And that's something that those Mario games can do with their RPG mechanics. Check out The Last Raw Dogs if you want to hear a lot more about that.
Honestly, by all means, this should be a good game. It's just, to me, this is truly one of those, I'll say like a 6.5 or 7 out of 10 if I had to give it a rating. It just, everything else about it should just be a knockout, like out of the ballpark. It's a fun adventure game, and you got the goofy aesthetic with the paper and crap. It's just, at some point, you're just like, all right, but am I really invested in this? Yeah. Like, do I care this much about fucking Paper Mario? Because the last time I'm going to say it, the last time I truly cared, I was 14 years old, and I was playing 1,000 Year Door. Yeah. And that was 16 fucking years ago. Oh man, and that's all I got to say about that.
So since we are the young guys running the podcast, started by old people,
yes,
something like that, we thought we had a different topic we were initially going to talk about, but we thought
we'll do that next time.
We'll do that next time, but we thought it'd be fun to do, instead of OK Boomer, we're doing like OK Bowser.
It's pretty close.
I thought that was kind of a fun one.
I like it.
It's kind of cool.
OK Bomberman, whatever you want to do.
OK
Big Cat.
Okay.
Let's do something older.
Okay, Pong.
Okay, Pong.
Okay, Tetris. I mean,
okay, Alexei Pajitnov.
Tetris still rules.
Okay, Pajitnov.
Tetris will never die.
But yeah, we thought it'd be fun to talk about kind of games before our times. Whether, I mean, the Nintendo was my first system, so when I think about games before my times, it'd be the things before the Nintendo.
I thought we were doing pre-85, so I went pre-85.
Well, I generally am doing pre-85 since the Nintendo was 85, Famicom's 83, so it's kind of right around there. Yeah. But my first console was the Nintendo. What were your first consoles, guys? I'm guessing it might be that as well.
Game Boy.
I guess mine would probably be like OG Game Boy, or I did play on my brother's computer a lot too. Like
that counts.
Then it would be the computer.
Yeah,
I've been a PC boy forever.
What would you say are your, like, one of your favorite games from before your time in video games where you were really playing?
I got very into the Ultima series when I was younger. Ultima 4 is my favorite of the entire series, and that came out, I think, back in like 85. The graphics from it are just atrocious. But it did some really cool things that like hadn't really been done as far as RPGs went and stuff like that. The biggest thing that Ultima did for like the rest of gaming was it introduced a morality system. They called it the virtue system, and you had 8 virtues that you had to build up to basically unlock getting into the final dungeon. And
you had to build up all 8 different virtues?
Yeah.
Take that, Mass Effect.
I know, right? Like
simple bullshit renegade system that doesn't matter barely.
Well, and that's
the best man you
hilarious
can be.
Thing is like the system that he used back then was so. You only had one choice. You were supposed to be good. You were becoming a moral compass for this world. That was like the whole premise of the game. Lord British asks you to do it, which is just,
his name is Lord British.
Yes,
I'd rather party with Lord Scottish.
Lord German's a little harsh for me.
He's very serious, dude. Don't fuck with him. Lord Jamaican, very laid back.
Love it. A little homophobic.
Very stoned.
But
sorry, keep going.
No, you're all good. Yeah, no. Beyond that, like it really is. It laid the groundwork for morality systems to come in, which that's one of my favorite ways that people can twist their games up. You know,
you really like a morality system?
Yeah.
Properly implemented.
Yes. I enjoyed. I also enjoy games that allow you to kind of break from that mold. I would prefer it to be a deeper system than black and white.
Sure.
But I do like that tracking system where the world will then respond to you in a way.
Yeah, I agree.
Because if you built up your compassion by choosing the correct things, or going and donating blood, or donating money to like churches, or one of the things that you had to make sure you wouldn't do was kill certain enemies because they were innocents, but they would attack you. So you had to fight them to the point of them wanting to run away, but then not kill them because you would lose your compassion morality.
The thing Elder Scrolls wanted to do very badly, but never was able to.
Yes, exactly. And it came out decades beforehand.
I want to see an alternate universe Elder Scrolls where they kind of adhered to those stricter elements back in the day, and kind
They
of
say this
developed
next
them.
one might have time travel. That's some of the rumors I have.
Doesn't mean they're not going to still put an arrow in front of you and a quest marker on top of
Yeah.
your screen and
They
just
have
say,
to, I know, but
I don't
They
know.
really don't though. It's got like the Elder
people,
Scrolls games,
the
I
people
know.
who play them though, it's not just it's not for RPG people
I
anymore.
know.
It's for everyone.
That's the
Don't
worst.
start a Souls game if you don't want every video game to be ruined afterwards. The thought of playing a Skyrim with things laid out to me, it's much more interesting. You have 3 characters that you don't know anything about them, and if you don't pay attention, you don't know shit about them.
Yeah. But
Right.
they have compelling stories if you actually pay attention.
Yeah.
Like, that's rewarding.
Yeah.
And that's what games should do.
Sorry, I've just been thinking about Souls games too much lately.
I understand.
I can't wait for a Dark Souls breakdown because Dark Souls changed my fucking life, and that's not even a lie.
It changed
Yeah.
gaming.
It changed everything.
Like,
I mean, I played it a year later, and oh my boy.
yeah. No, I got to the Souls series way late, but man, they're good.
So Dylan, how about yourself?
So I was going with a couple things, and I realized while thinking in my head, because I literally went before 85. That was my thought for some reason before the NES.
Yeah.
And I have a few, but I think we can fly by them pretty quick.
Okay.
One's Rally X.
Yeah, kind of a weird open world racing type thing.
Yeah, but there was something really cool about a character chasing you and then you having to wile your way away from them with like tacks and oil slicks, and it felt like you were really doing something. And I remember playing it in bars. So
It's kind of like a more aggressive and developed Pac-Man in a way, where you actually have to be creative and use traps.
Yeah.
it's Spy Hunter with a maze.
Yeah.
It's one of the ways I like to put it. But you're playing defensively the entire time. So you're basically Pac-Man without the pellet that turns you into the destroyer. My other one is Dig Dug. I mentioned this in a previous episode. I just really love Dig Dug. I think it's the most visually interesting arcade game from around this time. I think it just looks really good. You've got the layers of earth, the interesting enemies, and you blow them up with a bicycle pump.
You know, I wish they included time travel in that game, because the title alone has got time travel built into it. Dig Dug.
I think his name is supposed to be Doug. That was my thought.
They should have spelled it O-U-G then.
Yeah, but then people
That's
would
what I say to like
Dig Dug?
badasses. I'm like, O-U-G.
Dig Dug?
Dig
Dig
Dug.
Dug? And then my last one is Oregon Trail.
Oh, you have died of dysentery.
Oregon Trail. That was the first video game that schools required me to play. God bless them.
Yeah.
It was still fun to play because I would just really get into the systems of, all right, so I'm the doctor starting out, so I have a lot of money, but if shit gets wild, I'm not going to be able to defend us. So I got to pick people up in Missouri before we're heading across the trail. I don't want to die in the mountains. So it's like, and it truly felt like you were on a little adventure. And if you were playing it right, you also get a chance to early FPS.
And I got dysentery.
And we're all dead. Who cares?
I mean, it's in the
lost an oxen, poured in a river.
Buried Sally and we buried Craphead.
Thank
something
you.
that Oregon Trail does interesting is that they make shooting the buffalo very easy, and it's very like worth it, which explains why the buffalo were almost
They're all
extinct.
gone.
That's literally what it was, though.
Versus
It was
shooting
realistic.
squirrels, very tough.
Yep.
But I wanted to prove I could do it. No meat, but I'm like, fuck you, squirrel. Yeah.
It's obvious. It's harder, so obviously it's going to be better. Nope.
I just remember having.
Can I level up? Can I level up or what? Yeah. And I loved. I don't know if it was in the original version, but at least the one I played in grade.
There's so many versions
in grade school where you could either just take the safe route and you have to pay some money, or you can just try and take the river and risk it all.
Yep.
Do you want to drown your cattle and your oxen? Yeah, of course.
I did it.
I did it more.
I had to the thing is though, you don't get to practice before you've done that the entire way, and we're actually getting a grade from our teacher on this. Like you got graded on how good you did on the Oregon Trail. Catholic school was a little archaic.
That's a little fucked. It's a lot of that is chance.
Yeah.
Yep, but
it's a giant number.
You had to tell the teacher
either God helps you or he doesn't.
You had to tell the teacher I'm going. You have to tell him when you're about to do the last river thing if you're going to do it, so the teacher can watch you and see if you die.
Jesus Christ!
So not only that, you're doing it for an audience.
Yeah, that's
I beat it. I beat it the first time, and I remember because we did this in school too. The teacher was like, "Wow," and they're like, "Oh, you're not a complete idiot."
Oh man.
Okay, cool.
So there was a couple that I mean,
go through some more.
if I see them in an arcade, I run to them.
Oh yeah.
One of them is always Pac-Man. I'm always happy to put a quarter in and play Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I haven't mastered it. I'm not a.
Do you prefer Pac-Man or Ms. Pac-Man?
I'm very pro either gender. So
It's 2020.
As far as the two guys that modded an original arcade board to add a bow on her head, and then they were given jobs to actually make Miss Pac-Man. Very cool. She's much cuter. I'll say that.
Sure. She's got a sense of style.
She does.
Ooh la la! You see the ghosts lusting after
And
her.
Pac-Man just running around naked. Doesn't even wear a bow on his head.
He doesn't need to. He's from Brooklyn.
He's got a lot of confidence.
There's not many arcade games that I will run to, and Pac-Man's one of them.
Really, Pac-Man? Okay.
I love Pac-Man. I love Donkey Kong. The original Donkey Kong came out in '81, and it's just always fun to see if I can get to the third level, because I always in my head say it's not that tough. I can do it, and it's not always. It's not every time.
Tougher than you think.
People forget that arcade games were not made to be fun or rewarding. They were meant to eat quarters.
Yes,
like the original Legend of Zelda is my game.
That game is deeply frustrating. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And that was the game that I played in bars.
That was the first time I played The Legend of Zelda. It was the Game Boy when they made the NES Classics on the Game Boy Advance cartridges.
Oh yeah,
and that's the first time I played it, and I fucking hated it. I was like, I just played the Link to the Past. That was only two ahead of this one. This should be fun. Like, what a grand adventure I'm about to have. Sure, the graphics might not be as good, but
graphics were better than 2.
The other one I wanted to mention is one that I still play probably 2 hours a week, and that's Tetris. I am still hopelessly addicted to Tetris. The Tetris effect is a real psychological thing that can help PTSD soldiers deal with trauma. It can...
mushroom.
There's a certain amen. Both of them at the same time. You won't be as good at Tetris.
Who cares if you're good?
Adderall. There you go.
Oh fuck! No, that just makes me normal,
dude. You can even get into Invictus mode and Tetris 99. But Tetris has a real Zen feeling, and it's puzzle solving in a very simple way. Because I think a lot of those early games, there's a barrier of graphics versus nostalgia, which we don't have nostalgia for those games.
Yeah. No.
So it has to have such a good gameplay mechanic that you can get around the weaker graphics back then. And what are you going to do?
Doesn't need that.
What are you going to do with more pixels on Tetris? Like, they proved it with Tetris Effect, which you can do more with, but the gameplay remains Tetris.
Is Tetris Effect the one that they're doing the combat now in where you build? There's a game out right now where you're playing with 90 other people.
That's Tetris 99. That's the free one on the Switch.
Yeah.
And that's
that
great.
Game is amazing.
Oh,
they jazz up the Tetris music and man.
Right now there's a Paper Mario themed weekend right now where so it's like a Paper Mario music and they change the background and stuff, but there's a million versions of Tetris, and it is one of the most pure, best video games.
It's going to be made forever.
It's going to keep getting remade.
I'm more
because
of a
it's
luminous guy.
Although I do want to just briefly mention that they thought one of the first best sequels to Tetris would be Hatris, where you are mixing hats around on different people.
Wow.
And on that note, we've been the Hair of the Dogcast.
Absolutely, we have. It's really great to have you on here, Nick. I'm really
thank you
excited
so
to record
much.
with you on Raw Dogs. It'll actually make things flow. Not better. That's not the word.
Well,
in a more
I thought it was
interesting
like,
way.
I wasn't sure if you were trying to make a pun there or something.
Flow,
In the
like my
studio?
P Studio, gigaleaks
gigaleak. Wink,
on the
wink.
Nintendo Wii.
All right, Nick. Well, you know what? We're gonna have to put you back in your cage. We'll
All right.
summon you in about 2 weeks.
Where, is it the dark
It's
place
in the
again?
basement. Yes.
Okay.
You know what's great is that now, like I always ask Dylan. Well, I don't anymore because people know it's like, where can you find Dylan? You can't.
You can find me right in your fucking heart.
What do you say?
I mean, basically just add me in on that deal.
But it's
if
not
that's
safe
cool.
for work.
You don't have a Twitter or Instagram or a Facebook. Right?
I don't social media, I'm afraid.
Yes. High five.
Yeah, it's bad for people.
It's bad for everyone. The world wasn't meant. It wasn't meant for the world.
So really, if you want to reach out to Nick or Dylan, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Loaf of White Brad.
He'll tell us something about it.
Also, though we are Hair of the Dogcast, you can find us on Twitter at Hot Dogcast. We are on Facebook and Instagram, Hair of the Dogcast. Send us questions.
Absolutely.
We will definitely talk about them, answer them on the show. Patreon, Dylan, how can they help us on there?
Well, I mean, we've got a ton of tiers on Patreon. They range from very little to a ton. If you give us a ton, I tell you what, we're going to make your life. I promise you.
It's, what is it, the super best friend level or something? I don't know. All it takes, though, is $3, and then you'll get access to all of the episodes early without ads. There's exclusive video content, which is really great. And at the $10 tier, you can tell us what games you want us to talk about.
Yes.
And if you want us to play Barbie's Dream Stampede Boat,
I will do that.
yeah, we'll all borrow Nick's copy.
Well, I mean, I've got to do Barbie Supermodel real soon, so
okay.
You never really know. It's one of the things I was supposed to do.
Guilty pleasures.
It's fine. Tom and I are going to stream it. It's going to be great. I'm going to love it. Actually, I probably will.
It'll be fun.
I'll get into it. You know,
You just need like 3 of these.
maybe more.
So the Dogcast has managed to survive without both Josh and Tom today.
The creators,
The creators. Now, the hunters have become the hunted.
and now we slaughter them.
It's our time down here.
Dogcast 2, Electric Boogaloo, bitch.
I'm the Tom now. You get that reference? It's like Captain Phillips. It's pretty good.
Turtles and Ghostbusters, I am Josh.
Okay, cool. We're good. Goodbye, everyone.
We love you.
Wow.